Ivory Coast are Africa's latest champions after a dramatic final against Nigeria, but it wasn't plain sailing for the Elephants. So let's take a look at how the revamped AFCON 2023 shaped up. Hello and welcome to Football Now from Doha. The African Cup of Nations has come to an end, and once again it has not disappointed. The 34th edition of the tournament attracted record television viewers, and there was plenty of highlights along the way. Let's remind ourselves of how it all played out. Despite winning the opening match of the tournament against Guinea-Bissau, Ivory Coast lost their following group stage games and took dramatic action, sacking their manager Jean-Louis Gasset midway through the tournament, sparking a marvellous recovery, but more on that later. Elsewhere in the groups, holders Senegal got off to a flying start, taking the maximum 9 points from the group games, while Mauritania made it out of the group stage for the first time in their history. Into the knockout stages, and Morocco, fresh from their World Cup semi-final appearance in 2022, suffered a shock exit at the hands of South Africa. The journey continued for Bafana right until the semi-finals, where they went out at the hands of Nigeria on penalties.
From a South African point of view, it's been a long time since I've seen people really get behind the national team in this way. They've dusted themselves off after years of hardship. They've gone out there, they've done the business. They were led well by Ronwen Williams, the captain and the goalkeeper of the tournament, and Hugo Bruce, who's despite the challenges, has soldiered on. You know, it was a magical story, and there was hope we'd get to the final, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately.
The Ivory Coast saw off the Democratic Republic of Congo in the other semi-final, teeing up a dramatic final in Abidjan. The host came from behind and won the trophy thanks to a late Sébastien Haller goal. Just 2 years after his career was in doubt due to a testicular cancer diagnosis, he delivered the ultimate prize for his country.
Sébastien Haller is a player who, you know, has had a lot of ups and downs. You know, a lot of people throw in the towel. You know, you start thinking about life after football. You start thinking about your family. You start thinking, well, if I'm going to go through this, do I still want to continue to play this beautiful game? And he said, look, I'm going to fight through. I'm going to come out on the other side. And I tell you, he has come out fighting. I think we can only take our hats off to him. And for him to essentially score in the final as well, I mean, it doesn't get a lot better than that. What a beautiful story. Football is filled with these stories, but it doesn't mean that it diminishes the sort of impact that it has on us as everyday people and on everyone, you know, who love the game of football.
Yes, it was a miraculous story for the Ivory Coast, who won the tournament despite deciding to sack manager Jean-Louis Gasset midway through the competition. The bold move proved to be a stroke of genius though, as their interim coach Amos Faye inspired the Elephants to a historic third title.
C'est plus qu'un conte de fées, franchement, j'ai du mal à réaliser encore qu'on l'a fait. C'est extraordinaire, c'est une chance énorme. On est des miraculés, on a été chercher la coupe parce qu'on n'a rien lâché, parce qu'on s'est battu jusqu'au bout et on a montré qu'on était des hommes et qu'on savait rebondir malgré les coups durs.
When it went into Faye's hands, everyone was pretty much unsure. He never previously managed a senior side. He was not the man many people thought could turn the situation around. He's had an incredible journey himself. He played for Ivory Coast, he played in the Premier League, he played with Reading, and he spoke about this coming of winning at home, feeling like revenge because he had to stop playing at a very young age himself. So he knew from when he retired, he wanted to win trophies as a manager. He just didn't know that this incredible story would happen this way. Everyone completely took the host out of the running after their poor start and thought, wow, this guy is just not going to take us forward. So I think it's another story of investing in homegrown talent as well. And he's shown it's possible. And it's just a wonderful story to watch as another African as well.
After being runners-up in 2022, Egypt had hoped to go one step further this time around, but disaster struck in the group stages when their star player, Mo Salah, picked up a hamstring injury. They went on to lose to the Democratic Republic of Congo on penalties, only further highlighting Salah's importance to the Pharaohs' chances of success.
I think for Egypt, he plays a slightly different role, where I believe he's much more heavily relied upon in comparison to Liverpool. So I feel in context, it's a much bigger blow to Egypt when he's out. It didn't really work out this tournament for him. He was a lot more defensive going forward. You can't win an AFCON by yourself. But in terms of this particular tournament, you know, the minute Salah was injured, it just looked very bleak. There didn't look like there was many ways for us to make it to the final, and that's pertinent when we were kicked out.
Well, according to CAF President Patrick Motsepe, nearly 2 billion people tuned in to watch AFCON over the course of the campaign, making it the most watched edition of the tournament in history. With more eyes on the continent than ever before and the new African Super League having been launched in October, is the profile of African football currently at an all-time high.
I'm a veteran of 9 AFCONs, and this is undoubtedly the biggest ever. In terms of the revenue, in terms of the eyeballs, in terms of the viewership, in terms of interest in the African game, this is undoubtedly the biggest and the best. The best organized as well in terms of how they go the entire continent, buzzing, keeping an eye on African football for the very first time. I think undoubtedly the biggest, the best ever AFCON that I have witnessed, and the records and the stats are there for all to see. It was just out of this world in my opinion.
Yes, it was another thrilling tournament in Africa, and congratulations to the Ivory Coast on their 3rd AFCON title. Do let us know what you thought of the tournament using the hashtag FootballNowAFCON, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.